What's up guys, welcome back to today, back for another video. And in this video, I got another mock draft coming in, but this is post lottery and I got the full first round done. So I'm gonna explain every lottery pick, and then after that I'm gonna be going pretty quickly with my picks, probably like 4 at a time, giving even shorter explanations. You already know I've talked about these prospects a lot with multiple mock drafts already made, so this may not be as much explaining, just more picks being done so that y'all know who I think, who's moved up, who's moved down in my opinion. And I've had some mock trades too, if y'all really like them. If you want me to continue doing these mock trades in them, tell me. If you don't, tell me that too. But before we start the video, it's going to be a big difference. So drop a like, comment down below on the video that you want me to do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel at 108 right now. Trying to hit 125 as soon as possible, possibly 200 as soon as possible. But now let's get started. So with the first overall pick, it goes to the Detroit Pistons, and they select Cade Cunningham. Honestly, there's not much explaining to do. He's probably the best prospect in class. I know he had a really bad March Madness, but he proved in the season he's really what the Pistons need to be that franchise changer. He can score, he can do a little bit of playmaking, he can play defense pretty well. He's a 6'8" point guard. He could probably play multiple positions, but I think that's also going to mean Killian Hayes is most likely gone for the Pistons, because do you think you can really make Killian and Cade work really well? Because the way Cade can play defense, you gotta make sure he's locked in. Oklahoma State helped him make sure he's locked in. You gotta make sure Detroit's really gonna do that, which I know they had the bad boy Pistons, the 2004 Pistons. They were able to lock down very well. But with this new edition Pistons, will they be able to help Cade unlock that defensive potential he has? Not sure. If not, moving Killian may be the thing to do. But that would be just my opinion. At number 2, the Houston Rockets will be selecting Evan Mobley, as it was between him and Jalen Suggs for me, as I think they could either use a point guard of the future to replace Wall or another big man to pair in the front court next to Christian Wood. Like, personally, I think Jalen Green's the second best prospect, but I don't think he would have fit well with Houston. And I feel like Evan Mobley paired next to Christian would be really well. He's shown a little bit of flashes of being able to space the floor. Super athletic, can be a really good shot blocker. Christian Wood already has a really good jump shot. Is able to play on the perimeter really well. They can defend really well. He can really anchor down that defensive half. Showing a lot of versatility at that center spot. I feel like this could be a really nice pick for them. At number 3, the pick is really going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I got it traded to Orlando, as the Magic will receive pick 3 and the Cavs will receive pick 5 and a top 5 protected 2023 first round pick. And with the pick, the Orlando Magic will be taking Jalen Green, and I feel like Jalen Green is a match made in heaven for Orlando, who has a lot of defense but doesn't have that true guy who they really could trust as the star of that team for the future. I don't think waiting for 5 to get a guy like Kuminga would be very helpful for them, and I feel like they want that number 1 guy they want to trust with the keys of the franchise too. Fultz could be a really good piece as a starter. Isaac could be a really good lockdown defender, but a number 1 option. They have a lot of really good young role players, but getting that guy you want to trust with the keys to be that number 1 guy. I feel like Jalen Green has the potential to be that type of guy with his elite scoring ability. He did show a little bit of inefficiency in the G League, but remember, he's playing against guys who are looking to go pro, have been pro, or are pretty close to a pro type player. So doing this against these type of players and still leading them to the G League playoffs, even though they were the 8th seed, was still very good. And it shows a lot of bright signs that Jalen Green could be the guy for Orlando. Now, number 4 is going to go to the Toronto Raptors. And with the Raptors, they will take Jalen Suggs, as he's the best player available. He's had a really good March Madness, even though he did not have a very good last game. His stock went up a lot. He's shown great scoring ability, great playmaking ability. And even though they do have Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Malachi Flynn, this felt like the pick they really needed to make, as I felt like it brought them a lot of talent at that point guard position, and it brings the option of trading Kyle Lowry, as you don't really need him, as you got the point guard of the future you completely trusted in Jalen Suggs. Malachi Flynn has a lot of upside, but he can be really good as that backup point guard following behind Jalen Suggs. So then at number 5, we're going to have now the Cleveland Cavaliers taking Jonathan Kuminga, as now you don't have the need to trade Sexton because you did not take a guard and you got a defensive forward to replace Kevin Love, as your team has struggled in defense a lot. That's why you picked up Cora last year. Now you're picking Jonathan Kuminga this year, who does have a lot of offensive upside, was actually a really good scorer in the G League, even though his three-point shot was somewhat questionable. He has shot 65% on open threes in the combines this year though, which is kind of a good sign to show that he can still be able to shoot, and he could become at least a pretty good three-point shooter. If he can really become that 3-and-D guy for the Cavs, honestly that would be a dub. But if he's able to do even more than that, show more versatility in the offensive end, that would be an amazing pick for Cleveland. At number 6, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, and with their pick, they'll be taking Scottie Barnes. And the main reason I got them taking Scottie Barnes is because they want to choose someone who has some of the most upside in the draft. They do not need to take a guy who's going to help them impact winning now. They want a guy who has a really high chance of developing someone special. That's why they really reached to get Poku at number 17 last year. They got Theo Maledon, who had a lot of upside in the second round. And I think getting Scottie Barnes, who is a really good defensive player, can really be a point forward, can push in the transition, and have the chance to be something special, kind of like that Draymond type player who impacts winning. He really has the potential to be that. And being on OKC, playing next to Shea, playing next to a lockdown like Lou Dort, having a lot of young guards that you could potentially trust in Ty Jerome and Theo Maledon as they continue to develop, and maybe a mentor in Kemba Walker. This Thunder team could be really scary in a couple of years with all the picks they have. They could really potentially trade for a star in the future or try to find more young studs. And that could really lead to a really bright future for OKC. At number 7, though, it's going to belong to the Golden State Warriors, who will take Davion Mitchell, who will be a lockdown backup guard, basically, for the Golden State Warriors. Klay, we don't know how he'll be defensively next year. His shot should still be fine, but defensively, we don't know how versatile he'll be. But we don't have to worry about it as you got Davion Mitchell coming off the bench. Anytime his defense is looking a little weird, put him in. He'll get you good stops. He's a dog. The problem is he's undersized, and he's one of the older prospects. But he's definitely one of those win-now prospects, which the Warriors are looking to bounce back and be a win-now team once again next year with Klay back, with potentially an improved James Wiseman, with a healthier Klay, a refreshed Curry, Draymond's back. This could be a really nice squad for the Warriors next year. At number 8, it's going to belong to Orlando Magic once again, and they'll be taking Keon Johnson. After that, finding that true scoring guy they want, and they choose a guy with super high upside in Keon Johnson, as he's shown a lot of versatility attacking the rim. His jump shot's still in question, and he has the athleticism to be a really good defender, as he's already a really good defender guarding the 2 and 3, but his 48-inch vertical proves that he's not just able to lock down the perimeter, he can block shots like that too. He's going to be a high dunker type guy. Hopefully he doesn't turn out to be like a Hamidou Diallo type guy, potentially becomes something even more special than that with his upside. As long as he continues to improve on his offensive game, that could be really nice for the Orlando Magic. At number 9, we got the Sacramento Kings, and they'll be selecting Corey Kispert. It'll add some more shooting to the Sacramento Kings, as they were an average 3-point shooting team last year, but could be really nice as Buddy Hield may likely be traded. You get a really good shooter right back in Corey Kispert. He'll knock down for you. He has a very high defensive IQ, even though his athleticism does not match how good of a defensive player he can really be. His defensive IQ, knowing where to be at times, knowing how to play help defense, could really help. The only flaw with him is really just athleticism and maybe just not enough aggression when he drives. But other than that, he could be a really good fit on this Kings roster. Speaking of good fits and shooters, at number 10, we got Moses Moody, who will be going to the Pelicans. Could add a lot of shooting next to Zion, which is really what you need. And can be a really good shot creator too, and has some defensive upside too, being a pretty big guard that can ball handle pretty well. He helped Arkansas lead to a pretty deep March Madness run, and I feel like his shooting is the main reason why they pick him. And it could be really nice pairing next to the point guard you have, whether it's Lonzo or letting Lonzo walk and it being Kyle Lewis Jr., because there's no way they're going to start Eric Bledsoe. There's no way. But pairing them next to that type of point guard could be really nice for Moses Moody's development and the Pelicans potentially making the playoffs finally. At number 11, we got the Charlotte Hornets taking Alperen Sengun, who I've heard a lot of comparisons to Domantas Sabonis, and I kind of like his offensive play style, even though he's still got a lot of work to do weight-wise. Just the type of play style he has is really nice, and the Hornets could really use a big man for the future, as Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo is not going to cut it. They have good guards in Graham, they got LaMelo, they got Rozier, they got good forwards in Bridges, Washington, McDaniels, the Martin twins. Just finding that big for the future is really what they need. And they get that big in Sengun. Maybe kind of a risk, but with his high upside and with no really good big man, it never hurts to really take a shot. And at number 12 is another team that needs a big man of the future, the San Antonio Spurs, and they'll be taking Kai Jones. Kai Jones is more of an inside big with a lot of upside to play on the perimeter, as he's shown some flashes to play on the perimeter with Texas, along with Greg Brown showing those flashes as well. And to be honest, he could fit really nice with the Spurs roster. He knows how to score inside, which Pop loves to score inside, but he's not willing to only just stand in the paint. We could create a lot of more shots for guys like Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, Derek White. Let them get going and could help them. And they need a big man of the future. Jakob Poeltl is a pretty good rim protector, but that's all he really is. And then outside of that, who do you really trust as your big man? So getting a guy like Kai Jones really wouldn't hurt them and could help them start to rebuild. And then number 13, got the Indiana Pacers taking Franz Wagner, who is a pretty big wing, whose stock went up pretty high based off of this year. Could be a really nice fit with the Indiana Pacers. And I also have them having pick number 14 as they make a trade with the Golden State Warriors, where the trade is Andrew Wiggins, Eric Pascal, and pick 14 going for Miles Turner and TJ Warren. The Warriors finally getting that true big man they need, along with a good six man in TJ Warren. The Pacers have to take out Andrew Wiggins' contract by getting a really good young scorer in Eric Pascal, and then pick 14 to take a risk on Jalen Johnson, who is a high upside wing coming out of Duke, who we haven't seen play much, is why his stock fell in my opinion. But with his high upside, it could be a really good risk that the Pacers can take at 14, as it feels like it could be a really huge steal for them. And him and Franz Wagner can hopefully be big rotational pieces, potentially starters, if they can get that start over Wiggins, to be honest. But it also helps them start more of a rebuild. Actually, not more of a rebuild, just let Sabonis get more of the 5 center touches, and you still have a lot of young pieces that you can trust for the future. So these picks, I'll be going by quickly after the lottery is over. So first, we're going to have 15 through 18. 15 is the Wizards taking James Bouknight. 16 is the Thunder taking Josh Giddey. 17 is the Rockets, which is originally the Grizzlies pick. They're taking Isaiah Jackson. And 18 is the Magic, which is originally the Thunder's pick. They're taking Jaden Springer. As the trades are, the Grizzlies are trading pick 17 to the Rockets for pick 23 and 24. The Rockets find a guy they really want at 17 that they want to take, Isaiah Jackson, another high upside big that they really think could be something special. So they take him at number 17. And then Thunder get pick 18 to the Orlando Magic, and in exchange get Mo Bamba. The Thunder just traded Moses Brown and Al Horford, leaving them without big men. Getting Mo Bamba, a guy who's shown flashes of being a really good player, never really got the opportunity in Orlando, gets it now in OKC. And the Magic getting a first round pick for a guy they barely even play could be really nice for them, as they can get someone more of a better fit in Jaden Springer, who is another high upside wing. Josh Giddey is more of a, I don't really know how, in my opinion, I have not watched him, which is why, even though some people see him go to the lottery, I don't really have him going to the lottery. But I heard he's doing really good internationally, and I heard he's a really big guard with a lot of high upside, which would be perfect for the Thunder. And the Wizards just get another lanky scorer who could really come off the bench and be probably an immediate six-man, to be honest, as the Wizards have lacked a lot of depth, which can make the workload on Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook a little bit too big, and hopefully James Bouknight can immediately help with that. As taking him outside the lottery could be a really good pick for him. Next, we got 19 through 22. 19, the Knicks take Sharif Cooper. 20, we got the Hawks taking Zaire Williams. 21, we got the Knicks taking Usman Garuba. 22, we got the Lakers taking Jared Butler. Jared Butler, known winner. He could really help the Lakers out to potentially be once again contenders, as Dennis Schroeder has been questionable. Caruso doing questionable things. So maybe getting a winner in Jared Butler could immediately be a rotational piece for the Lakers. Hopefully help them to potentially make the finals once again. Usman Garuba, big with a lot of high upside as well. With Nerlens Noel being a solid big, but due for a payday. Mitchell Robinson, also going to be due for a big payday pretty time soon. Getting a guy with high potential to potentially take a risk on, just in case those two end up being gone. Usman Garuba would be a risk to take. Zaire Williams, a lot of defensive abilities, a lot of high upside on the offensive end, and His season at Stanford was pretty good, showing a lot of athleticism, ability to attack, and has the tools to be a really good NBA player pretty soon. And Sharife Cooper, just a crafty guard. The only problem with him is size, and they may have lied about his size just to get stock high. But I know the skills he really has, and I feel like him being potentially one of the future guards for the Knicks, along with quickly being there as well. Barry, if you want to consider him a shooting guard or a small forward, it's your choice. I just feel like Sharife's craftiness could fit really well with the Knicks' young core, and could be a big part for their future. 23 and 24 both belong to the Grizzlies from the Rockets trade I made, and they'll select Cam Thomas and Greg Brown. 25, the Clippers take Max Amos, and 26, the Nuggets take Brandon Boston. Brandon Boston to potentially be a good wing to have, as you made a trade to get Aaron Gordon, so you lost your shooting guard to Gary Harris. You never really played a true shooting guard. Hopefully Brandon Boston can be that, as he's a really good scorer. Showed some inconsistencies in college, but can definitely be very much fixed in a system like Denver. A winning culture could help him take that next step. Max Amos will probably be a point guard that could be a really good rotational piece once again. Amazing scorer, could be that floor general that the Clippers really need and lack. Even though they had Rondo, he was kind of way too old. He lacks the size, but his ability on the court is just too amazing to pass up on. And the Grizzlies, they're getting more depth with guys with high upside in Greg Brown, and it could potentially help impact them now with their scoring ability in Cam Thomas, potentially build up their young depth even more, and as they continue to develop with a really young core, potentially be one of the top dogs in the next 3 or 4 years as the team continues to get better and better. And with the final 4 picks, the Nets will be taking Day'Ron Sharpe, the Sixers will be taking Tre Mann, the Suns take Chris Duarte, and the Jazz will finally take Ayo Dosunmu. Day'Ron Sharpe is that inside presence that the Nets could really use after trading away Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan kind of regressing, and having to play a lot of Blake Griffin at the 5. Claxton still has the upside, but if you need someone with a bigger body, can really get the grinding done inside, Day'Ron Sharpe is their guy. Could potentially be their backup big next year and get a decent amount of minutes. Tre Mann could be a really nice guard for the Sixers, as Ben Simmons has been a lot of trade talks. So if you really need that really good backup guard, Tre Mann can really be that. There's been a lot of questions about Shake Milton and if he's able to be consistent enough to stay as a Sixers 6-man. But Tre Mann could be a really nice guard for them if they really need one. Chris Duarte for the Phoenix Suns, I feel like could be a pretty decent fit, as he has a really nice 3-point shot and has a bunch of offensive abilities, and could be really nice for the Phoenix Suns, as getting that catch and shooter along next to Cam Johnson off the bench. Learning from extras like E'Twaun Moore could be really nice for him, and Langston Galloway as well. I feel like that could really help him be a really good bench scorer for a long time. And then finally, Ayo Dosunmu, another guy who was a high volume guy in college, could be really nice for the Utah Jazz, and could honestly be an immediate bench piece for them starting next year. What do you guys think about my mock draft? Do you like the mock trades I made or not? What picks, who do you think I made too high? Who do you think I made too low? Who do I have to leave out? If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like, comment below any videos you want me to do, and subscribe to the channel. Peace out, guys.